Hello and welcome back to another top 10 video. Now I know this is an FBL channel, but obviously with the season still not started yet, still got another month, I figured while we're in the summer, I did a top 10 worst transfers. I may have to do a top 10 transfers last season as well. Wasn't easy to do, there were some players that just narrowly missed out, so Alex Moreno of Aston Villa didn't make it, just because obviously he joined in January, so it wasn't really much time. Pereira, Fulham just missed out. I thought he had a fantastic season last season. Nobody expected it, and he just narrowly missed out. Now, I had Alvarez on my list as well, Man City, who actually technically joined the season before in January, but I figured because he went back to River Plate on loan and he came back at the start of last season, I figured he could count. But obviously, due to the fact that lack of starts, really, he didn't really play much time, so I figured he didn't deserve to be in this top 10. And then finally, Isak of Newcastle. Unfortunately, he had quite a few injuries in the season, so I figured if he was fit all season, he was scoring like he would have made it. But I felt like he got too many injuries, really, and he just missed out as well. In 10th place, I've got ZINCHENKO of Arsenal. He joined for 30 million from Man City, and I'm not going to lie, I did not think when he first joined Arsenal it was going to work out. I couldn't understand why Arsenal decided to buy him for 30 million. This was a guy that couldn't get in the Man City team. I mean, obviously Man City are a great team, but I didn't think he would be anywhere near the Arsenal team either. Now, if he did come into the Arsenal team, I thought maybe he would be playing more of an attacking role, more of a midfield role. I did not think for one second he was going to take Kieran Tierney's place. I thought he was nailed on at left back, and I thought Zinchenko would be either on the bench or playing more of a midfield role. I was completely wrong, and he was playing left back all season. And if he didn't have that bad spell at the end, I mean, I know Arsenal as a whole had a bad spell, but obviously he made certain mistakes, like against Liverpool, etc., where it cost them probably a few points. But if he didn't make those mistakes and he continued the great run he had at the start of the season, he would have been much higher in this list. But obviously 10th place is not bad either. I think he had a great season still, regardless of what happened at the end of the season. He ended up playing 27 games. Did he get a few injuries as well during the season? But obviously he got the one goal, just 2 assists, which was surprising. I thought he would have had more assists, but overall, I thought Arsenal as a team were great. And Zinchenko definitely surprised me. He played a lot better than I imagined, and yeah, I think that transfer has really worked out for Arsenal. In ninth place, then, I've gone for Levi Colwill of Brighton. He was only there on loan. Now, this might be a bit high. Maybe people think he probably didn't deserve to be in the top 10. He was only loan. He only played 17 games. But I'm telling you now, Brighton are not where they were last season if it weren't for him. He was a massive contribution to that. Obviously, he's a centre back, so you don't really hear of him. He was unbelievable. If you watched him in that Euro Championships under 21, he was unbelievable there. If I'm Chelsea, I'm keeping him and I'm definitely starting him. If I'm Brighton, I'm spending all my budget to get this guy because he was sensational. He's an unbelievable centre back. He plays left side as well. So hopefully he's going to be playing for England in the summer. He can replace Harry Maguire because he is unbelievable. What a defender he is. Great on the ball. Great defender. Unbelievable. I've got him at 9. Yes, he probably didn't deserve to be probably in that position. He probably didn't deserve to be in the top 10, you might say. But he's just the find. The fact that he was a sensational find. Nobody saw it coming. That's why I thought he deserved to be in this top 10. Great loan from Brighton to have. Great player. And yeah, he's definitely going to be a sensational defender in the future. What a loan he was. In 8th then, I've gone for another Arsenal signing, Gabriel Jesus. 45 million from Man City, so he joined when Zinchenko joined as well. Honestly, I weren't so sure he was going to do that well. I thought it was unbelievable, to be fair to him. He would have been higher had it not been for injuries, but unfortunately he did get some. 26 games he only played in the end, but he got 11 goals, 6 assists, some good returns he got there. Yeah, he shocked me, to be honest, how good he was. 8th is no knock on him at all. There's only one other striker that was signed in the summer I thought did better than him, which says it all, and we all know who that is. So yeah, Gabriel Jesus, 45 million. I thought that's way too expensive for him. He's not going to do that well. I was wrong. He was great. He was pressing. He was unbelievable, and he'll probably do it again next season as well. Yeah, he did surprise me. And again, 11 goals out of 26 games is nearly a goal every other game. So he had a great season last season, to be fair to him. It's just a shame that he got injured towards the end of the season. So at number 7, I've got Akanji of Man City. He joined for 15 million. That was it, just 15 million for Dortmund. Now I've seen Akanji for a fair few years now, and I've always thought he was a really good defender. So when I found out Man City were just going to sign him for 15 million, I thought that was an absolute steal. How have they done that? And it's proven so. He's been brilliant this season. Since he's come in, he's found it like a duck to water the league. He's had no issues at all. Yes, he's been in and out of the team, but what defender, what player pretty much, except Haaland, hasn't been in and out of the team. So to play 29 games, score just the one goal. I mean, obviously, it doesn't matter about goals and assists, really. The fact is, he's come in, first season at Man City, he's won the treble, he's absolutely smashed it. Yes, he might not be a starter at times, but when he comes in, he does a job. And I think, like I said, 15 million is an absolute steal for that kind of talent. In 6th place, then I've gone for Botman. So I've gone for Botman ahead of Akanji, only just. Obviously, Akanji might be surprised because he did win the treble, where Botman didn't win anything. But at the end of the day, everybody expected Man City to win the league. Nobody expected Newcastle to get top 4. So for that, I've gone for Botman ahead of Akanji. He did cost more. He cost 35 million. But to be honest, for how well he played last season, I think that's a pretty steal in today's market. Most defenders now, if you want a decent one, 75 million. So 35 million, pretty impressive. 36 games he played. I think the only 2 games he probably missed were at the start of the season, just bedding into the team. But yeah, he was unbelievable. Newcastle absolutely smashed it. Got to a cup final. Yeah, he was brilliant. It's going to be interesting to see how he gets on next season with the Champions League as well. But it was an absolute steal, I thought, for Newcastle. And that's why I've definitely got him in my top 6. So number 5, I've gone for PALHINHA of Fulham. Not gonna lie, didn't know much about him before he joined Fulham. He joined for 20 million. Even then, didn't really think much of him. I still thought that Fulham would be battling relegation. I thought this guy, he'd just go under the radar and he'll probably leave when they get relegated again. Boy, was I wrong, massively wrong. He was unbelievable last season. Absolutely smashed it. So much so, with obviously West Ham selling Rice, they're looking at getting him in. Obviously, Fulham, I can see why are asking for at least 90 million, and I can't blame him because he was brilliant last season. He only got 3 goals as well, which did surprise me. No assists, but I don't know why I thought he scored more goals than that. But it's still 35 games, 3 goals. The goals and assists, it doesn't really matter. It was the tackles he was getting in, the plays he was creating. He was unbelievable. Didn't expect it from him. Obviously, I hadn't really heard much about him before. For 20 million, that's an absolute steal for Fulham. Great bargain buy that is, and that's why, for sure, he definitely deserves to be in the 5th slot ahead of the other guys, because a lot of these other people I have heard of before. This guy, didn't really hear much of him before. He went to a club that's just been promoted as well, and absolutely smashed it. So in 4th spot, just missing out on the top 3 is Casemiro, Man United, which might be a bit too high, some might think, because obviously his price, it was 60 million plus 10 million add-ons. Not quite sure what the add-ons were, but it looks like it could go up to 70 million. Compared to all the other guys, he's been the most expensive one. I think he's the 2nd most expensive person on here. And when you compare him to maybe the others, maybe he deserves to be probably higher rather than in the top 4, maybe a 6 or a 7. But for me, if you've seen Man United play before, Man United's midfield was terrible. I mean, you had McTominay and Fred. They were absolutely dire. They've brought in Casemiro. A lot of people, mostly Gray and Souness, weren't quite sure about him. And he's absolutely been sensational for Man United. He's probably one of the main reasons why United got top 4. Even the League Cup final, he was the one who got the goal as well. So he was incredible. It took a while for him to bed into the team. It took Eric Ten Hag a while to actually start the guy, which is a little frustrating when you just watch your Man United losing games and you're thinking you got Casemiro on the bench, just bring him on. Probably what Ronaldo was thinking before he left. In the end, though, he managed to get 28 games under his belt, 4 goals. It ain't too bad. I weren't expected to score goals, to be fair. To get 4 is pretty impressive. 3 assists. Considering he is meant to be just a CDM. I mean, a lot of people went about Declan Rice, how good he is. I think Declan Rice needs to have a look at him and just learn from him, because he's an unbelievable CDM, Casemiro is. He has a tendency to get sent off. At times it was a bit harsh, but even then, I think he's an unbelievable for Man United. He's definitely turned that midfield around, made him so much stronger, and I think he is the main reason why they got top 4, and then maybe they'll be able to progress next season, we'll see. But yeah, I thought it was a great signing for Man United. So on to my top 3 now. In the third place, it's a Brighton left back in Espinina. And obviously, he came in for 15 million from Villarreal as a replacement for Cucurella, who left in the summer, 55 million. And out of the two of them, who had the better season? Of course, it was the Brighton man, Espinina. And he was incredible last season. Not a bad replacement, to be fair. If anything, he had a better season than Cucurella the season before as well. So this is an absolute steal for Brighton. But how much did they make in the end? I think they made about 40 million profit out of this guy. Unbelievable, that is. Great scouting from Brighton. 35 games in total he played as well, so he was fit for most of the season. Well, pretty much all of the season. Not to mention he had that World Cup in the middle as well, which he did pretty well in himself. 1 goal in the end, so, I mean, he's a defender. You don't expect him to score goals. So, yeah, right at the end of the season as well. So, if you had him in your FPL teams, you're probably loving him because he smashed at the end of the season. And 5 assists as well. So, he's got, like, Luke Shaw kind of numbers. That's the level he's at. Obviously, Luke Shaw is one of the best in the league. So, to sign one of the best left-backs in the league, that's pretty good going for Brighton. Absolute talent, that is. Did not see it coming. But, yeah, special player. And he definitely deserves to be in the top 3. So then, in second, just missing out on the top spot, is Nick Pope of Newcastle. 12 million Newcastle paid for him from Burnley last season. When I saw that come in, I couldn't believe how much it was. I thought it was going for at least 30 million. But yeah, that was an absolute steal from Newcastle. Their scouting is unbelievable. Got to give it to them. I thought when they got that new ownership, they were just going to be splashing the cash on anybody, getting Neymar, Mbappe, Ronaldo. No, they've been really smart. They got in Nick Pope. 37 games he played. Obviously, no goals. What keeper scores goals there? It's rare. 13 clean sheets. That is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I know a lot of top clubs probably wouldn't have gone for him just because, including Gareth Southgate starting for England, because of his passing. His feet is a bit clumsy, or not the best, and they all want to do ticky-tacky football. But Newcastle, they went with him, and his shot stopping was incredible. Reading the game, he was incredible. He made, one mistake I can think of off the top of my head, and that was led to him leading into missing the League Cup final. But yeah, I thought incredible season for Nick Pope. I mean, I saw it coming because I knew how good he was. But yeah, for the fact that how much he cost, obviously for how well Newcastle did last season, I do believe he definitely deserved to be in the second slot. So then in third place, obviously, this one was an obvious one. It was always going to happen. It was always going to be this man, Erling Haaland. I mean, those stats right there say it all. 35 games played, 36 goals scored, 8 assists. He scored. That's just incredible. Absolutely incredible. I never thought I'd see anything like this again. I mean, I thought Luis Suarez was unbelievable when he had that run. Mo Salah, Harry Kane recently as well. Alan Shearer back in the day were incredible. This guy was wow. Just wow. He just wouldn't stop scoring goals. I mean, yeah, he's not smashing them from outside the box all the time like, let's say, Ronaldo would have. But this guy, in that 18-yard box, is just so deadly. And obviously, he's playing for a great team. But yeah, first season in the Premier League. Obviously, he did cost a lot of money, over 70 plus million. But that's money well spent, let's face it. The guy scored more goals than he played. He also got 8 assists on top of that. And then he only goes and wins the Premier League, the FA Cup and the Champions League. Not bad for your first season in the Prem, is it? So yeah, he was always going to be number 1. He's had an absolute incredible season. Be interested to see how he gets on next season. I'm expecting to score at least 30 goals again. A lot of pressure probably on him, but yeah, and the fact as well is he stayed fit. Because obviously at Dortmund he had a lot of fitness issues. But at Man City, no issues really. He had probably the odd niggle, if that. But yeah, he was incredible last season and for sure deserves to be the best transfer in this list. He was by far the best. And there you have it. So that is my top 10 transfers from last season. So let me know who you think I've got it wrong. Who have I missed out on, most importantly? I must have missed out on somebody. Honestly, I do like this list. I can't really think of anybody off the top of my head who I do think deserves to be in that list. Obviously, I mentioned people at the start who I did think about putting in, but I'm sure there might have even somebody else that missed out on. But anyways, I do hope you liked this video, and please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one.